quick before I get into the tips. So I have a ebook specifically made for this. I have an ebook from point A to point Z when it comes to specifically box trucking. So if you're trying to start a box trucking company and you don't know where to start when it comes to the LLC, the business, the paperwork, the getting your authority to drive, all that stuff, I got it in the description down below. It's an ebook on how to start a box trucking company from point A to point Z. So go ahead and check that out. It is so helpful. It has already helped a lot of people. So if you're one of those people that's kind of stuck at this phase, you're stuck at the beginning, make sure you check out that ebook in the description below. If you are thinking about getting into trucking and you're kind of hesitant about it, whether you're kind of nervous, you're scared, this is like your first company, do you know enough to start the trucking company? And what I will say is do as much research as you have to do. You can go back to my older videos. They are very, very helpful, very, very helpful. And they'll give you a lot of insight into the game that you might not know or you maybe might have forgot. So go back and check all my videos on my channel. If you want to see any more videos, I'm gonna just go ahead and let you know right now that I do upload trucking videos regularly to help people get into the game. So go ahead and subscribe. When you do subscribe, make sure you turn on that post notification bell so you will be notified when I upload my next banger video that's basically giving you the game, giving you all the insight that you need to be successful in trucking. Number one is going to be everything dealing in paperwork. You want to make sure everything that you need to know for your paperwork that you have to have in place to run your trucking company legally and not have to worry about the DOT officers messing with you, giving you these outrageous tickets, because that's one thing with trucking. A lot of people don't realize a regular traffic ticket can be thousands of dollars. You might get caught speeding in a regular car and only have to pay $100. But if you get caught speeding in a commercial vehicle, you're liable to be paying $1,000 for that same speeding ticket that you would normally be paying $100 for. So keep that in mind. You want to have all your paperwork together when you are starting your trucking company, whether you're doing box trucking, hot shot, CDL. You want to make sure you have everything in place. You also want to make sure that you keep copies of all your paperwork in a binder or a folder and keep that in the truck. And so if the DOT officer is doing their inspection and they ask you to see your paperwork, you got everything right there to give to them. So tip number 2 is, what equipment do you need to do the type of trucking that you want to do? Will you need a reefer? You know, a reefer truck, which is basically a refrigerated truck. Will you need a box truck? Will you need a hot shot? Will you need a flatbed? Are you going to be driving a semi? All these different types of equipment or different type of vehicles in trucking are going to require different type of equipment to operate it. If you got a hot shot, you don't need a pallet jack. But if you got a box truck, you need a pallet jack. If you want to do more regional stuff or local stuff, a lot of those type of lanes are going to require multiple drops because you're not going that far. Meaning, so they're going to probably be putting more stuff on your truck. Do you have a lift gate? You know, all these different things are going to come into play when you're booking these loads, when you're trying to get contracts, when you're out here networking with people. The more access to equipment that you have on your truck, the better, because that gives you more versatility. And you know, it's just like anything else with life. The more versatile that you are, the more bang for your buck that you're going to get. You don't want to be in a situation where you find a great lane, it's going to a good place, it's paying you good money, and then when they ask you, do you got a pallet jack? You like, oh no, I ain't got no pallet jack. And then they're like, oh, we can't give you the load. Then you're going to be SOL. Make sure that you understand and know all the different type of equipment that you need. And sometimes, even if you feel like you're not going to need it, but it does relate to the type of trucking you're going to be doing, just go ahead and get it. Even if you don't use it, you'll rather be safe than sorry. But missing out on a load because you don't have a lift gate sucks. And I've been in that situation where it was one load that I was picking up and they required me to have 18 blankets and I didn't have the blankets. Thankfully, broker was able to find a U-Haul that I could go to rent the blankets from. I went ahead and rented the load blankets from U-Haul. But if it wasn't for that quick thinking, then I would have missed out on the load because I didn't have loading blankets. So you just want to know everything that you're going to possibly need and get as much as you can in the beginning process. If you was to ask me personally, the ultimate necessities for box trucking, you're going to need a pallet jack, you're gonna need at least 5 to 10 straps. Go ahead and get yourself a load bar, and make sure your truck got a lift gate. Number 3, are you gonna be dispatching yourself, or will you need a dispatcher? This is going to be such a pivotal decision for yourself, because this is going to dictate what type of load you get, how much you get paid for each load, and honestly, the health of your company depends on the dispatching that you're getting, whether you're dispatching yourself or you having somebody else dispatch for you, whether they're an official dispatcher from another company or they're somebody that you're going into business with. Whenever I originally started driving, my mom was dispatching for me because we went into business together. And I was also dispatching for myself whenever I had the time. Say if I wasn't driving, I would be dispatching myself as well, just to understand the process. It's very important that you know if you're going to need a dispatcher or you're going to be dispatching yourself. I will say, if you are the driver as well and you're trying to dispatch yourself, it will add a little bit more complexity to your daily operations, because you're not always going to be on that load board looking for the loads, and soon as loads pop up on the load board, they're gone just that fast. So it will be kind of tough to dispatch yourself while you're driving as well, especially if you are the type of person to be driving early in the morning. But if you're going to be doing stuff like Amazon, you're not really going to need a dispatcher per se, because the time that they post their loads and then the time that they have you pick up their loads is a pretty big gap in between. If you're running Amazon with a box truck, it's most likely that you're going to be running those loads in the middle of the night. So those loads are going to be posted during the day. If you're doing Amazon, you might have a little bit more leeway. Another disclaimer that I will give you is running loads for Amazon can be kind of tough, because it's not always peak season. Peak season is usually the holiday time. So if you are trying to run these loads and you're running them through Amazon, just know that if you're not running in peak season, you might not be making the best money. So just keep that in mind. But go into trucking understanding, will you be dispatching yourself or will you have somebody else dispatching, either from another company or within your own company. Number 4, you're going to want to know if you want to do long hauls, you want to do regional loads, or you want to do local loads. All of this is going to depend on, 1, the availability of freight in your area for whatever type of freight you run in. If you're running in more of a dry area and you move in general freight, then you might have to go do long hauls. That's just going to be the situation. Everybody's going to be different. You really want to have an understanding of what type of freight runs out of your area. If you're doing more like agriculture based and you're moving a lot of food, more times than not, you're probably going to be doing more local and regional lanes. You can do long hauls with food as well, but you're going to also have a lot of opportunity to do regional and local. Honestly, dibble and dabble in a little bit of everything. I wouldn't necessarily say, because you don't know how you're going to like local. You might like local or you might not like local. You might want to do long haul, you might not. It's all just depends on your specific situation and what's available in your area. And the tip number 5, the last and final tip, you are going to want to get some type of gas card or credit card that gives you rewards for getting gas. You're going to be using a lot of gas. Gas is going to be your number 1 expense. So you want to get rewards for spending all this money. You want to choose a really good credit card. You want to choose a really good gas card. As you're spending money on gas, you're able to get something from it, you know, whether that be travel points, whether that be cheaper gas prices, whatever it will be, hotel points, whatever it will be. Make sure that you get a good gas card or credit card to use for your gas bill. Don't pay for that with cash. Use some type of line of credit. That's my 5 tips for anybody who's getting into trucking. These are my 5 tips that you need to know before you start your trucking company. If you have any tips for anybody else that I might not have brought up in this video, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section below. If you have any questions about the tips that I gave out today, or you have any questions about trucking in general, go ahead and leave a comment down below as well. If you're getting into trucking and you're having an issue with the paperwork, or you're having an issue on where to start with the paperwork, and starting your LLC and all that stuff, go ahead and check out my ebook in the description box down below. If you liked the video and it was helpful, I would very much appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. It just shows me that, you know, this content was helpful for you. If you want to see more trucking videos, go ahead and subscribe. Turn on that post notification bell. It's your boy RJ. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.